Alright, so right before I get into the video today, I just wanted to point out that Jay Oliva came out and said that Justice League Part 1 and 2 was not shot back to back, so we could put that theory to rest. His exact tweet was, "Not really, the events planned for Part 2 were nowhere seen in the Justice League film." And that's really interesting, because that means they had a whole nother movie planned, and it probably had something to do with the Darkseid invasion, and everything that we saw in the Justice League film in theaters, that's basically all the events that was in the Zack Snyder version. Only I'm suspecting that the Zack Snyder Justice League film was 3 hours long, or at least close to 3 hours, or like 3.5 hours, It was a long fucking movie. And there was going to be a lot more build-up to the actual, tunnel fight, and then the Steppenwolf final battle at the end. There was going to be a lot more build-up to that. But, as you can see by the tweet, Jay Oliva is confirming that they did not shoot Part 2 and Part 1 back-to-back. But then he put out another tweet, which is right here, and he said there was no plan to shoot it back-to-back because Flash and Batman were next in the production pipeline. Kind of hard to shoot 3 films at the same time that basically uses the same cast. Now, this is kind of mind-blowing for me because I was under the assumption that they were nowhere near starting the Flash or the Batman film, right? I think we all were thinking that they were nowhere near starting those films, but according to Jay, they were next in line to go into production. So, they had scripts done, they definitely had the cast ready to go. Did they have directors and everything? Was this the Matt Reeves Batman film? What is taking so long to make these films? Obviously they were about to start them, and then something stopped them, and they didn't want to go through with it. I wonder if it had anything to do with Zack Snyder's Justice League. Did Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 1 actually play into the Flash solo film and the Batman solo film? Did it actually lead into those films? Because they were already in production on Justice League when the backlash happened for BVS. So they probably had all these movies planned out and ready to go. And then Warner Brothers got cold feet. They're like, you know what, we're just going to focus on making Zack Snyder's Justice League. And then when Zack Snyder leaves, they're like, alright, let's fucking change everything. They went against their plans, they were planning on doing Zack Snyder's Justice League, then the Flash and a Batman film, and then probably Justice League Part 2. Which is insane if they were, planning all that. But, that's kind of all speculation. Jay Oliva is confirming, though, that Flash and Batman were next in line to go into production. And, that's not the case anymore. So what is happening, Are we going to get any information at Comic-Con about this? Probably not. But that's just interesting, that those were the next films in line. And they totally are yet to actually start these films, But anyway, on to the video. Comment below, let me know what you think about Jay Oliva's post. But on to what I want to talk about in this video. And I just want to talk about Zack Snyder. I know. I rarely talk about Zack Snyder on this channel. But I was thinking about, why do they call Zack Snyder fans fanboys, It doesn't happen with any other movie director. And I kind of came on that realization a few days ago. And I was thinking, if you were a fan of any other director, would you be called a fanboy of that director? No. You would just be called a fan. Somebody that really enjoys that director's work. If you were a huge fan of 2001: A Space Odyssey, nobody would call you a Stanley Kubrick fanboy, Or if, you were a huge Alien fan, no one would call you a Ridley Scott fanboy. It only happens with Zack Snyder. Has anybody else noticed this? And yeah, I'm a huge fan of Zack Snyder. I just watched Watchmen again, with the commentary on. I highly suggest listening to Dave Gibson's commentary of the Watchmen Ultimate Cut. Because he was the co-creator of Watchmen, and Alan Moore has, totally separated himself from Watchmen. He got rid of his rights to Watchmen. And Dave Gibson is, the only one will talk about the Watchmen movie. And he loves the Watchmen movie. He sounds like a fan watching the movie. And I loved listening to his commentary, because he was just pointing out all the exact panels that he drew and stuff that was in the movie. And he was actually praising Zack Snyder the whole time, saying that he was able to take what they did in the book and actually simplify it and make it work for a film. Dave Gibson was really impressed by that throughout the whole film, And there's also the Zack Snyder commentary for Watchmen: The Ultimate Cut. I highly suggest listening to that too if you want to hear the technical aspects. He's really technical. He only talks about how they did shots and stuff. He's really meticulous with every little shot. He knows every little detail of how they put the film together. which is obvious, right? He fucking made the film. But yeah, that's Zack Snyder. He'll just point out all these little details that you'll miss the first time around and actually explain how they did the shots. I like listening to his commentary. But Dave Gibson's commentary is definitely worth a listen to. But anyway, back to what I was talking about with Zack Snyder. You know, I'm a fan of Zack Snyder as much as I'm a fan of Stanley Kubrick or Ridley Scott or Steven Spielberg. You know, there's no difference to me. You know, he's a great director. All the people I just mentioned, those are great directors. There is no difference, you know, to me. You can't be a fanboy of a great director. You're just a fan of a great director. And it's funny because maybe I'm not a fan of the Marvel movies because they're yet to even get a great director to actually direct a Marvel film, right? Why is that? You know, why is that the case? That they can't get one, like, great director to direct a Marvel film? I wonder why, you know? But, you know, DC, on the other hand, they have no problem getting great directors like James Wan. Like, I think James Wan is another great director. I put him on the same level as, like, a Zack Snyder, you know? And James Wan is really early on in his career, too, and he's showing signs of being a fucking amazing director. And he kind of parallels Zack Snyder's career, too, you know? Only, I think, Zack Snyder hit the genius level really quick, you know? Like, his first movie was Dawn of the Dead, which was fucking amazing. Definitely watch that if you haven't. But his second movie was 300, you know, like he hit genius level filmmaker by his second movie that he made, 300, you know. And James Wan, like, you could already tell he's a great director because of, like, Conjuring, which was a fucking fantastic film, and Insidious, which was another fantastic film. He is on the path to being an amazing director, a legendary director. And Aquaman's looking amazing. Now, there was that snapshot of the Fisherman King of one of the kingdoms, and I wonder how many kingdoms we're going to go to. You know, I wonder how long the movie is. But yeah, that snapshot looked fucking amazing. The makeup mixed in with the CG, it looks fucking fantastic. James Wan is a fucking genius. He's going to kill it. You know, this Aquaman movie is going to be amazing. And it's clear that he's heavily inspired by the Aquaman that Zack Snyder created. You know, there's no hiding that fact. You know, like, he is totally inspired by what Zack Snyder was doing. So it really, like, is a testament to, like, Zack Snyder's level that he's on as a filmmaker, you know? Other filmmakers like James Wan look up to him and are inspired by him. So why is it a problem to be a fan of Snyder? You know, other filmmakers are fans of Snyder. Aisha Tyler, the chick who's going to be hosting the Warner Brothers panel, she comes out and she says that she's a big fan of Batman vs. Superman. Which is crazy. You know, out of all the movies to talk about out of the DCU, she talks about Batman versus Superman, you know? She doesn't mention Wonder Woman. She doesn't mention Man of Steel. She doesn't mention Suicide Squad. She mentions Batman versus Superman. That's the first film she says. Batman versus Superman forever. And it's just like, does that make her a fucking Zack Snyder fanboy? No. It's just so ridiculous to me. I don't understand how people can call people fanboys if they're fans of Zack Snyder. You know, they don't do it with any other director. But I guess that's it. That's all I want to say for now. Just a quick little thought I was having. And what do y'all think? Like, what are your favorite directors besides Zack Snyder? Like, have you ever been called a fanboy because you were a fan of that director that you're a fan of, you know? It doesn't happen with any other director. It only happens with Zack Snyder. I mean, they call you a fucking cultist zealot if you're a fan of Zack Snyder films. It's just fucking insane. They don't do that with any other director. Like, should we call critics zealots because they like Wes Anderson, you know? Like, I would say most YouTube critics are, like, huge fans of Wes Anderson as much as we're fans of Zack Snyder, you know? But they don't get called fanboys for it. So it's just something I've been thinking about. But anyway, comment below, let me know what you think. How many times have you been called a fanboy because you like Zack Snyder films? And what other directors do you like besides Zack Snyder? Like, I love a lot of directors, but I never get called a fanboy for liking those directors. But anyway, that's it for now. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.